Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your local problematic Leo, and today is the launch of the Jade Shadows update. So, of course, we're going to be taking a look at the protagonist for the newest cinematic quest herself, Miss Jade, as well as all of the weapons that come along with her. Now, I do have to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I haven't actually played the quest myself. I just went ahead and picked her up in market for plat. Let me know down in the comments below if that is something that you wanted me to go ahead and get recorded and upload to the channel. Now, there are a couple of different ways to pick up Miss Jade. Of course, doing the quest will give you her blueprint, but the new Ascension game mode in Uranus Brutus, or Brutus Uranus, I don't know how that really fits together, but whichever sounds better for you is the way that we're going to go with. You can go ahead and pick up the rest of her component blueprints there as well. However, I did want to make mention of what's going on with the market because there's a couple different things. So, we have the Jade collection, which of course is the initial bundle that's going to come out for $8.45, and it's going to have Jade, her alternate helmet, the weapons that come along with her, the new Signa, as well as some decorations. But there is also the Jade Chorus Pack, which you can pick up for real money, $19.99. However, it's going to have some more of the extra little bits. Like there's the Terra Landing Craft skin, so that's the cool one that we saw in the dev stream. There's going to be the light and shadow color palette, as well as the Jade in Action glyph. Just know that if you pick up the Jade collection for, I believe it's like 845 plat, all of those other additional things can still be found in the market. So the light and shadow color palette, I went ahead and made sure I picked that up as well in the landing craft. I think I'll end up getting the sigil at some other point in time, but those are all available as additional pickups. I decided to actually go ahead and get the collection because if you notice, at least from what I notice here, you don't actually get the Jade's Ensemble, which is the weaponry with this pack. So keep that in mind. Even though it is $19.99 and it comes with 275 platinum, the weapons themselves are going to cost $500 if you buy them in a bundle. So that's definitely up to you and how you want to go ahead and pick her up. But I thought that you guys should be aware of your options and not to freak out like I did on stream where I'm like, wait, where's all this extra crap? Regardless, let's go ahead and jump into the simulacrum and take a look at her abilities as well as how the weapons perform, because I'm going to tell you, these weapons are really, really interesting. Alrighty, so let's kick things off with a little bit of an overview before we jump into the action. Now, the big thing about her passive is she gets 2 different aura slots, and yes, those do actually add into the mod points that you can use. I think I only had to toss 1 Forma in her, and then boom, she was good to go. But in addition to that, some of her abilities apply judgments, increasing enemy damage vulnerability by 50% for 10 seconds. Now keep in mind, she also has another ability that strips armor. So damage vulnerability plus armor and shield stripping. Ooh, this is kind of juicy. So first and foremost, we have Light's Judgment. Now this is going to toss down a little area on the ground. It's going to mark enemies with that judgment thing that we were talking about. Previous to this, found this very interesting. We actually only had 3 Light's Judgments, at least that's what they said during the dev stream. We have 5. They have given us 5, and this baby has a nice chunk of range. Alright, next up we have Symphony of Mercy. This is the one where you can actually swap between 3 different buffs. The coolest part about this one is you get, of course, the shield buff, you get the weapon damage buff, and then you get the power strength buff. Or is it power duration? No, it's power strength. Now, interestingly enough, if you kill enemies that have that judgment buff on them, what'll actually happen is it will increase the duration. So it'll add back the duration. This used to be shit that we would get in an augment. You're just getting it straight out of the gate. Also, you can swap freely between the different buffs, but you can only have 1 buff active at a time. It's not recasting, it's just swapping. It's just swapping through, and the duration just keeps getting added onto it whenever you kill somebody with that debuff on there. Now, Oh Phantom Eyes. It's just kind of cool, and I like how this ability works. Basically, you slow enemies in your gaze radius. You strip their shields and armor, and I believe what they said was, oh, and you slow them too. So basically, what happens with this is you dissolve their shields and armor, and you can actually trigger like a fire proc, I believe, after you've like destroyed some of their shields or armor. I don't know, it's something like that. I feel like the fire damage is like non-plus. But what happens is when you remove your gaze from these enemies, the slow gradually goes away, but they do not get their defenses back. Unless it's shields, because shields come back anyway, but the armor stripping is what we're really concerned about, right? Next up, Glory on High. The first time I used this, I was like, oh, this was not what I was expecting. But then again, I don't use Hildryn very often, so keep in mind, the way she moves with this is the way Hildryn moves with her, like, hover ability. It's not the way that Tatiana flies around like a little fairy. You don't get as much fluid mobility as you do, especially because she's a lot faster. Now, the big thing to know about this is a exalted weapon. So after you hit 10 when you're leveling, go back, mod it, because it's gonna feel shitty without the mods in there. I tried it out and I was like, ooh, I'm doing like no damage whatsoever. But there is, I believe, a 10% chance to inflict judgment. Remember the passive that you have that makes enemies more vulnerable? You have a 10% chance to apply that through your little particles that you spit out. Interestingly enough, and this is one thing that people did not mention at all, or at least during the dev stream, is that you actually get 50% damage reduction while you're in Glory. So you're getting damage reduction in this mode, and you will most likely be flying. So if you want some more damage reduction, what you could probably go ahead and slap on is the airborne thing. The thing that's the airborne, the aura, to give yourself, I think, 74% damage reduction, which is nothing to scoff at. Now, while you're on this, you can also use alternate fire to explode any of the judgments that are on enemies. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this actually all plays in action. I've got some friends already set up over here. But as you can see, oh no, I don't. I thought I did. I swore I did. I had them up. But I guess when I got back in my arsenal, it reset. So let's simulate them. So, first ability, you can go ahead and toss down the little globule ball. Look at the range on that. Now, of course, this is modded, but I didn't go too crazy with the range on it. And you can see that it does deal some damage over time. It'll also heal allies in this little globule range. And those are the judgments. Now keep in mind, when an enemy is in the judgment, like this judgment zone, it's not a 10-second tick off. But now that the judgment has disappeared, it should be about 10 seconds before they disappear. At least that's how it's supposed to work. There you go, see? So when they're in the globule, they will have judgment on them no matter what. When they're outside of the globule, it's 10 seconds. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and move on to the second ability. So next up is this buff. You can toggle between it just by tapping it. But if you hold on to the buff, you actually can go ahead and see right there that you have whatever is active is active. Wow. I'm like, it's different colors. So I always just remember up. The little arrows up mean power strength up. The red one means weapon damage, and then the blue one is shielding, so that you know. And it's not costing me anything different. They just all work off of the same toggle. Now let's see if I can. Let's just kill something. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna refresh it. Toss this down to make them more weak towards it. So I believe that brought it back up to 51. So every time I'm killing something, you can see that the little timer tick is going back up. But of course, this only, I believe, applies to enemies that are judgmentized. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and move to the next ability, which is the Ophanum Eyes. So as you can see right there, let's see. So as you can see, it's really just in this gaze, but you can see that that little fire proc is on there. So it gives them a little bit of a CC too, because they're waggling and taggling. But when I look away from them, you can see that they're no longer slowed, but they still have their armor stripped. So that's always nice and works really, really well with this blobby ability right here. And then boom, we're getting more duration back on the buff. So I feel like she's got some really, really good synergies. Now, I'm sure you guys are waiting for the biggin. Let's go ahead and get that refreshed real quick. get some more enemies out onto the field, and jump onto Glory on High. I forgot which buttons made me ascend and descend, so if you are not an avid Hildren user and don't know what those buttons are mapped to, make sure you check that out because you will get stuck in ceilings. I definitely spent a good time of my playtime with her, like right up in here, and I'm like, I don't know how to get back down. I don't know how to get back down. So make sure you remember what that mapping is for. So while you are in here, you can cast all of her abilities. Let me go ahead and get her buffs better. Actually, do Power of the 7 first, so you get your Power Strength buff, right? And then you go ahead and jump into Glory, so that's strengthened now. Now you can drop down a little well, right? And then you can also go ahead and cast Oh Phantom Eyes. Then you can swap into the shielding buff. But as you can see right there, look at all that coming out. Now, here goes her the actual exalted part of here. You can go ahead and kill all these enemies, and then with that little laser thing, see, look at the little laser, and then you go boom. That's your alternate fire. Now, after all those enemies have been stripped of their defenses, you can go ahead and explode them out. That is your alternate fire button. Your alternate fire will not trigger if there is nothing with any judgments on there. So that way you know that, your stuff is not ready. So anyway, toss it back down there. You can see your other little blobs. I'm just giving you visuals. I do believe it has a little bit, it has a little small radius attached to it, but with Oh Phantom Eyes and everything like that, and all of your judgment buffs, it really softens enemies up a lot, and you're able to kill them pretty quickly. So all in all, I feel like she's really good. If you can stomach Glory on High and moving in Glory on High. I want to be honest with you, I don't love Glory on High. It's a little bit, it feels a little wonky. You do get used to it after a little while. But I'm so much more used to the way Miss Titania moves. But I do have to give DE props because this package of her skills, everything synergizes really, really well with each other. They all help fuel each other and make all of her abilities better when used together. Speaking of being used together, let's go ahead and take a look at all of Jade's weapons, because let me tell you right now, they're freaking interesting. So we're going to take a look at Evensong real quick. Let's jump into this. Let's jump into this one. Now, I do have buffs and stuff into this, so I don't want to, not buffs, but I do have a build in there. But as you can see right here, it is going to be it's actually got a decent chunk of status into it, and then it's got a good critical chance. The thing that I noticed the second that I used it is this baby is slow. It is slow as all hell, and it is painful. But I will say the quick shot can still chunk out a decent amount of damage. The only real reason to be using it, because you can actually see quick shot right here. Where am I? The damage is still pretty high off of the quick shot in of itself. Now, if you do a charge shot, the bigger thing about the charge shot is that it has a radial explosion. So there's a charge radial attack that comes along with it. But the one thing that I am going to put out there is the Evensong Devotion trait. Any enemy that you hit with Evensong is going to stack 7 stacks of puncture status, which reduces the target's damage output by 100%. So it's going to make them 100% less crazy. But it increases their critical chance damage taken by 35%. So when you crit, you go and crit roll nasty with this weapon, right? But here's the thing. When you kill an enemy with Evensong, it increases the multi-shot of your team, including you, by 35%. It is kind of crazy. Now, let's go ahead and move into the Cantare. This one is also very, very interesting. Why do I keep doing that? This one, all right, it's unique trait. This one does, hold on, let's take a look at this. It does lean heavier into status. I did slap some critical stuff in there for fun and dandy, and for the second little bit, because it has a really, really cool trait into it. So, the trait for this one is Cantare's blades have a 300% critical chance when they return upon reload. So, as far as I'm aware, the magazine is 6, but the magazine is also infinite. I don't think you pick up stuff, because I don't think that there's a thing that holds it. At least, not from what I've seen. I could be wrong. Hold on, this is going to be embarrassing. Let's take a look real quick, because I haven't needed to, like, do it. It was, like, 6. Okay, so, basically, what happens is, you shoot out 6, and on the 6th blade, all of the blades return from, you know, wherever you've thrown them. And basically, on their way back, they will pierce through enemies with that 300 critical % chance. Now, the thing about it is, when you strike enemies with the returning blades, the 300% critical chance returning blades, all right, you get a buff that increases reload speed by 200% for you and all allies. I mean, we see what's going on here, right? All right, now let's look at a Harmony, which I have to say, I really like this one. I mean, I really like this just in general. I have to put another mod in there, but ignore that. So let's see it without. It's got critical chance is 20%, status chance is 36%. It's got a nice chunky critical multiplier on it. Now, here's the thing. When you use a heavy attack on it, it basically takes any of the damage ticks from those statuses. So let's say you have a slash status, or you have a fire status, or a toxin status. It will condense that all into one big hit. Kind of like there's a what to call this, the Helmuth ability that basically forces all stats to happen at once. It's kind of like that. It happens on a heavy swing. You can get some big numbers off of that heavy swing. But if you kill an enemy with a heavy attack, right? It increases status duration by 30% for allies. That's absolutely amazing. Now, I will say one thing. When you have all of these 3 working together, supposedly there is a buff that is supposed to increase their effectiveness. Now, here's the thing. I was looking at it, I was trying to figure out, what is it increasing their duration? Is it increasing how much they put? I don't feel like it's working. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, at least for what's being displayed on my screen, doesn't seem right. So let's take a look at these in action. We'll start off with the Evensong bow. I'm just gonna do a quick tap real quick. So as you can see, we have our 7 stacks of puncture on there already, right? Single hit, 7 stacks. My issue is, can we get more stacks? Or is that like full stacks? Is that just full stacks? Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a full charge. And as you can see, that feels more than 4 meters. Is it me? But that feels like it was more than 4 meters. Right? Like that. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Don't tell DE. Let's leave it the way it is. But as you can see up on the top of your screen, you have that 35%, and that is 35% multi-shot that is coming up. See, kill. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the next one, which is the Cantare. This one's cool. So I'm purposefully not gonna hit anything, and then I'm gonna stand like here, and you can see all of those critical shots, and you can also see the reload speed buff that you have on there. So I'm purposefully not hitting anything, but I'm gonna kind of move. You see them all return? It's cray-cray. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. You see that? Oh my god. I mean, like hit them. I'd say don't try to not hit them. But I just wanted to do that for like visual, for like, you know, visuality. Oh, you see that? I just threw that one at the ground. Yeah. And I believe ripping out of an enemy also counts. See? Oh, that's just nasty. But as you notice, it's always refilling 6 no matter what. So I feel like you have infinite ammo on this unless further told. And then last but not least, the melee Miss Harmony. So as you can see, I've got some buffs in there real quick. So we've got some slap. Okay. We've got some. No, we don't have any. Okay, we don't have any slap. We don't have any slap. Hold on. I gotta put some slash or something in there real quick. There's a fire, okay? Hold on. Now heavy swing. He already died. This is not a. Okay, we're gonna go this way. Okay. Okay. I didn't even get to take a look, but that was a very big hit. Okay, we're gonna pretend that y'all saw that. There's some slashes, right? 95k, not bad. Not bad on an armored target. I mean, they did really just change the armor setting, but you see what I mean? It's nice. It's like 238k, okay? That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And I don't think that there was much of a combo going either. So those are the 3 different weapons. I'm not seeing a big increase to duration, or I'm not seeing a big increase to their effectiveness, because I believe it is 30% duration that they've got on there, 20% for the reload speed, and then 35 for the multi-shot, but it's all there. All in all, I'm actually a big fan of all that they've released. I do have to make mention of this. I, again, have not seen the story, but you saw that, right? Is she what I think she is? Or, you know what, maybe we're not gonna talk about people's body types, but the fact that there is something glowing in there really makes me think that it might be the thing that I think it is. Anyway, let me know how you guys feel about everything that you've seen so far with Miss Jade down in the comments below. Hopefully, I didn't miss anything. If I did, feel free to toss it down there as well. Let me know if you want to see me do a playthrough of the quest. I'm going to have to do it pretty soon, so let me know. I'm going to touch on a couple other things. I have to take a look at some augments. I have to take a look at the new Ureli skin, do some customizations with that, because it's kind of fun and funky. But toss all your feelings down in the comments below. And as always, make sure you go ahead and feed the algorithm for me, because I'm growing a little ghostly baby in there. Okay? Feed that baby algorithm. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.